can do. Because we're live here. You and I, we're doing great. We're going to be talking about chords in a little bit. And here's a good start. 3 major chords. So if you want to try mixing it now, if you want to play rhythm guitar, G major, A major, E major. Can you spice it up? Could you make those all 7 chords, dominant 7 chords? G7, A7, E7. Even though that rhythm guitar part there is just playing regular major chords, you are not tied, within reason, you're not tied to just what's there. Make your flavor what you want it to be. You know what I mean? The major minor thing, right? Let me show you a little bit of what I'm yammering about. I think I'm good here. I don't even know. Let me see if I can update this and download the mainframe. And maybe I'll just stop fussing with these double streams in the future. But you know, trying to appease the algorithm. Major. I'll be down here. Let's see. Minor, major, minor, right? Yeah, exactly, Brim Vim. The tech gremlins come for us all. Doesn't matter what level anyone's at. I'm just out here drowning in the details myself. Minor, major. You can do minor the whole way. We're just talking about nuance, right? I could stay minor, but when I hit that major third over that major chord, it's kind of interesting. Let's say if I mute this electric guitar part and I'm in charge of the rhythm now. Welcome, by the way. Happy Saturday. G. I'm doing a G7, A7, E7. Can you play a rhythm with me? So some kind of a G major or a G dominant 7. So you don't want to do major 7 on these. You want it to be that bluesier. Major 7 and dominant 7, very different chords. They're as different from each other as a major and a minor chord. So if there's any confusion you have about what a 7 chord is, we've got to clear that up today. The dominant 7 has a flat 7 in it. That flat 7 scale degree or chord tone or interval, however you want to think about it. Boom, boom, bam, 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 boom, boom, ba, 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 da, 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 ba. Now, just to be cheeky, if we were to turn all 3 of those chords into a major 7, it would sound totally different. Ready? It's a cool progression, but it's different than what we were playing because we, my friends, have choices. Choice is the beautiful thing. On guitar, let's do it. Okay, this is going to be like sort of a, now that we got ourselves off to the races, let's dive into 22 tasty chords. Why 22? Because I don't know, that's as many as I felt like filling up on the sheet. Closing all the boxes. This is what we're getting into. The chord sampler. If you want this chord sampler, it's a PDF. You can get it. Just check out the link in the description. If you don't have it, you can get it. If you're one of my members, many of my members are here. I dropped it into the GWAD area for our last, I think yesterday actually, I dropped it in. And I'll make sure that it's abundantly visible and available. But if you're wanting to grab that, you can read along with that right now. If you go to the workout, the Friday Zoom hang that we did yesterday, it's attached in the description there. It's right down in there. And if you don't know what I'm talking about and you want to get involved, you can get this PDF for free. Just click on the link, yada, yada, yada. You will give me your email. I will protect it. I will not abuse it, but you'll receive an email from me that has a link to the PDF, and then you'll be off and running, and it shall be fun. Hello, Memphis. How we doing, Jeff? Oh, sunny and 60. Yeah, it is crisp and sunny here today on the other side of the state, letting you know that Nashville's feeling good, looking even better out there. Got some beautiful cherry blossoms a-blossoming. But nothing blossoms quite like a nice chord. When it's played, when it's played with feeling, we're not done yet. Don't you go anywhere. Okay. I had, more tech gremlins, the little button switcher thingy was screwing up. So there's going to be some fun hijinks, as there always is. Okay. Let's just dive into it, okay? So chord number 1, boom, chord number 1. So if you're scanning through, you'll be able to see it. We're getting into these major 7s, all right? In fact, I'm going to open up the chord sampler on my end so I can just see it on a screen down here. And that way, I can just sort of get us going. Let's start with the major chords. Why not? These are major 7 chords. These are major chords, and a lot of them are in the major 7 family. And the way that I want you to think of this for today, even if you know more of what I'm covering, even if you're a little bit further down the line, you're like, I know what he's talking about. Hey, technically that chord should be called a blah, 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 major 9, or blah, blah, blah. I'm going to keep it simple because I want, first and foremost, for you to explore the sounds of these chords in your own ears, in your own fingertips, and decide, I like that. I would like to try putting that into different songs. So rather than getting into too many of the details, if you have some questions, go for it. But I might sort of veer away from trying to describe exactly every note and interval and degree. I would rather you be able to hold these chords, hear them, play them, and have them sound really good, and then just sort of take them around the block. So with that said, this first category of major chords, they're not all going to be major 7 chords. Some of them will have fancier names, technically speaking, but you can think of them as possible chords to swap in when you see a major chord. They're not all going to sound the same or all work, but if you see a regular chord progression that goes from G to C to D, you might decide, I want to try maybe swapping in for that first G and then do regular cowboy chords, and then start adding these flavors and season to taste. So major 7, this one is in fact a major 7 chord, and I'm just going to draw it by circling. That right there is how I will draw the root note. So when there's a circle, that means that the root note, the idea is that you can slide it all over the place. We're not going to just chain it to one particular fret. That is what you should be able to do, because that is the superpower of guitar, right? We can slide shapes, right? So let's say if we were to put this on C, on the 3rd fret, that root would be right there, okay? So that is a major 7 chord. We don't need this right here. So check that out. Drop me an emoji if you got this, you understand this chord. Let's just sort of slide it around. We'll just sort of loosely create this sort of motion here. We go C, we'll go up to a E flat. So this little kind of like invented progression we're going to do is like a C. We're going to slide it up to this note right here. So I'm just sort of marking the root notes there. So try that. We're just literally going to slide back and forth between those 2 spots. So now we're going to slide up, back down, slide down. And the strumming, you can do whatever you want. You can try to copy what I'm doing. You can be like spelling it out. You could be doing fingerstyle. That's not important. What is important is getting this shape comfortable enough so that you can slide it easily. And that seems like the easiest thing on guitar, but don't overlook it, because little things can trip us up and then stop the flow, meaning you would think, oh, just sliding up here, easy, I just slide it all over the neck. But sometimes the fact that the frets change size will sort of give us a little bit of a hiccup, and then we sort of shy away from it, and then we end up not using it. So I want us to be able to just like take a shape, move it around. This is a great one. We're going to keep it moving. Chord number 2. We're going into pink right now. We're going to be doing the same chord progressions, just going back and forth between a C and an E flat. I'm checking out my handy chord sampler chart. You could have one too. All you got to do is click a link. So this one is good, and this is another thing you should be able to just sort of comfortably take a chord shape, and when the chord shape reaches its open area, meaning this C major 7 uses a bunch of open strings, so suddenly that finger that is going to be, you know, in charge of holding down a bunch of strings, it doesn't have a job. That shouldn't trip us up, okay? So transitioning a chord shape to its open position and then its fretted position shouldn't be a train wreck moment. So if that is, take your time to plan ahead and be like, oh, okay, to make it as easy as possible, I might hold this open C major 7 using kind of, you know, atypical like fingering. And it might feel a little bit weird, but oh boy, that'll save me a lot of sweat once I get here, because then I could, or you could just be, you know, able to switch that. But you see what I mean? You want to take the time to understand, like, okay, that's where it is. When it's open, I get these open strings. I can see how that shape would slide if and when I want to slide it up. So let's play this kind of slow motion together, starting on the C, 2, 3, C major 7. Sliding up to E flat major 7. Back down to C major 7. Michelle Obama is in the chat on the vertical stream. Hello, we just went prime time. And she just told me to get in my underwear. See, this is why I need to be on vertical streaming. This is where it's all happening. And as fun as we've been doing a good job here on our horizontal streaming, but clearly the aspect ratio of the stream matters more than anything else. So I'll be giving all of my attention to Miss First Lady, Michelle Obama. How are you? I will not entertain a further conversation in that direction. Let's continue with our chords. Chord number 3. And then just like when we started with that little loop going, we're going to have some really nice jammy chord progressions we're getting into. So if you're feeling a little bit like, oh, this is so boring, oh my God, I get it. We're going to get into that in a second. Chord number 3. Wow. Oh, this one's really nice. I'm going to be saying that a lot. I've come to learn as I watch back on my videos, I say, oh, this one's really nice. And let's dive in with a lot of that kind of stuff. Or see what I did right there? See what I did there? Let's try, here's the root. So these are all 5th string so far. And again, this might be leaning on the more jazz, neo-soul, lo-fi, hip-hop side of things. You might be like, I don't know if this, it's okay if this is not your entire style, and you're like, you know what, hang in there, because there will be times when I veer back more towards how do we just spice up regular cowboy chords and bar chords. But I think it's interesting to have these, like if you haven't tried some of these chords, they might seem sort of exotic and sort of nebulous as far as how and where you would start using them. That's what I'm trying to help you understand. So the overall thing right now is that we have buckets. We have the major bucket, the minor bucket, and we're going to have the dominant 7 bucket. There are other chords, obviously. But to understand that when you see these fancy kind of major 7 chords, major 9, major 6, 9, they all sort of stem from that major sound. And again, they're not always going to sound perfect when you swap them in for any old major chord. But in a lot of cases, as you understand, like the 1 chord and the 4 chord, those are perfect examples where you can try out one of these more kind of smooth sounding chords. So this one's really nice and smooth. And it has this built-in, if you're ready for it, that built-in hammer-on. And what I mean by that is that if you hold the chord as it's written right there, that's great. That's the chord. If you want to play with adding that hammer-on note written in pink there, it's kind of nice because you're already holding it down anyway to sort of get that fingering there right there. So just one note on the fingering. Some of these are going to be using, we're most often used to holding our index finger down, the first finger, to get bar chords. But if we start bringing in the 3rd and the 2nd finger, it takes a little bit of dexterity. Oh no, yeah, John, thank you for helping me. If there's something that you're getting wrong with the link, it's a brand new link, so I might have created a dead end there. I just gotta try to figure it out. Couldn't find the page you're looking for. Okay, let me see and make sure real quick on that. Let me check that real quick. Okay, so check out that get that chord ready and see if you can move that between your C and your E flat. Sorry, I'm just checking this to make sure we're not. I even know sometimes it's tough. This is where I need a little munchkin. Need to train the dogs to be able to handle this for me. Sometimes it's tough. This is where I clicked on the stream, obviously, so it was me listening to me, listening to me, listening to me. Okay, yeah, let me figure that out. Oh, it's because I was missing the last letter on the URL. Whew. Okay, I was missing the P on the word sign up. Let me see if I can change that on the fly. I'm so sorry. I'm so very sorry. Sign up. Okay. Saved it. Wait, I saved it for the vertical one. Gang, thanks for rolling with me on this. You're troopers. This is what you can look forward to if you get a Guitar Friend Tim membership. Zany antics just like this. I'm glad this one was a relatively easy fix. Just sort of, you know, tightening some screws on the plane while it's in the air. Not a big deal. Loving it. Keeping it light and free. Welcome to my world. Yeah, Birdie, no, trust me. I have much empathy for you. So never feel like you're bumming anyone out if you have technical questions, because he's one of our members, wonderful contributor, and it is a bit of a learning curve in general using these apps and all this kind of stuff. But we make it easy. We do have a really good app. There's a little segue into a mini sales pitch. It's called Mighty Network. The app on the phone is amazing. The web version of it, great. It's like our own built-in Instagram, just about what we're nerding out on guitar. And then some of the stuff where you have to figure out how to like drop a video link of your own playing. That's what's been great though, because once you learn how to like just drop an unlisted YouTube video in the members area, everyone's sharing. More on that later. We've got this great March dare to share thing going on, which has been going really well. So chord number 3, let's play it here. This I'm putting into the major 7 category. It's technically a major 9 chord. And if you're watching and if I get any chord names wrong, please tell me, but please tell me in a nice way, because it's just chords. We're going to be okay, right? So try that one, slide it around from the C up to the E flat, and let's keep the show moving. Let's keep the show moving along. We're going to move into now, chord number 4 is going to take us to a 6th string root. This one is a beautiful chord. I love it. Okay, so this one you might be familiar with. This is one of the ones that we kind of early on get exposed to. So now we're thinking 6th string. We're finding that C on the 6th string. We've got this right here. The trickiest one with this is making sure that you have the correct muting. You don't need the 5th string, right? So you need that flesh of the first finger to just be resting on it without pressing it down. You don't want to fret it. So left-hand muting is a huge thing as far as making sure that your chords sound clean. And you don't need the 1st string. So I'm muting it with part of the index finger, the 1st finger. Right there, 8th fret, right? So this allows me then, if I want to just strum right through and it still sounds clean, you could also just be playing these by thumb, playing the root, and then the fingers handling. Whatever works for you. So let's play C. We're going to slide up to E flat on the 6th string. Back down to C. Okay, so I think I have one of these chord progressions. Let's check it out. Let's see, is this one? So this is the kind of, yeah. So those are 2 major 7 chords. And 3 major 7 chords. Okay, so let's figure out this chord progression real quick. Let's see, I did. So this chord progression that I just sort of demoed is in D. So we're going to take, since we have 4 of these major 7 chords written up there, I want you to take one of those shapes and just decide which one you like. And you can play that on top of the existing guitar part. So the existing shape is this first one. And I go from G, sorry, I just said G because it's the 2nd chord. I go from D up to G down to C. And then I kind of do a chromatic. I'm just going to write the C sharp there because I just connect the C. Right? So we've got our D up to G down to C. That's our overview, right? I like on the vertical stream, it's formatted so all these letters are on top of my face, which is, it's for the best. So that's our chord progression. Then that's that connecting moment right there, right? I'm gonna let this loop a few times and just, I would recommend take one of these chord shapes and take it all the way through. Just slide it. It's kind of nice, right? One more time. Oh, went the wrong one. Got excited. That's that 6-string root. Right. Michael has a question. On the major 9, hammer on no matter where on the neck. I think so. Obviously, there's going to be moments where you're going to hear things and your ear will be the judge of like, that sounds a little bit out, as we might say, or a little bit tangy, I sometimes say. But for the most part, that it's a type of thing where, you know how like with a jazzy sort of like 9 chord, like that approach, that sort of slide in, is almost like you can do it pretty much no matter what the key and whatever. By that, what I'm saying is that if you're quick with it, it's just really an articulation. So even when it's chromatic, it'll just sort of be a nice little kind of garnish. Yeah, and truly, if you hit something where it sounds a little funny, then just don't do it in that instance. Because as we'll see when we get into the minor chords, there's like a minor 9 chord that I love, and there are certain cases where like on the 3 chord or something, you'll see where it's like a little bit like, ooh, it sounds a little bit like stretches the ear a bit, but it's okay. Just decide, through experience, decide like, well, maybe I'll remember to not use that voicing on that chord degree. But I don't want us to be like doing that navigating right yet. I just want us to hear it and feel it. But yeah, keep the questions coming. Let's move on to, let's add another shape or so. I've got a few more of these major 7s. So we've gone through chord number 4. Let's get into chord number 5. Boom. My handwriting is getting loose and free. This one is a major 6 chord, okay? So this one looks a lot like this one that we did right here. And as we gradually do this, I'm going to be erasing chords. So if you want the full chord sheet, get that PDF by clicking the link in the description. 6-string root. We don't need that one. So you notice how this one literally is the same fingering. It's in relation to the root note, it's going to be different notes. So don't go thinking that it's exactly the same chord. So what I'm getting there now is another flavor of a major chord. And this is a major 6. So let's play it on the D up here. And we don't need this one right there. And this would be a major 6 chord, but don't worry, these are all just major flavored. So let's try sliding this one on this progression. Another one where you can try that hammer on. That type of thing, right? Kind of fun and nice. That's that major 6. That's kind of like the Lenny chord. The most famous Lenny chord is the... But then there it is. It's that major 6. And he just slides that major 6 all over the place. He just does that over and over again, which is beautiful. Just taking that shape, case in point. Next one, this one starts on the 4th string. So we have our first fourth string root, which I love. There's the root. quick pop quiz. Where would we find the 4th string root if we're looking for a G? Where would I find a G on the 4th string? What fret? Can you tell me what fret? And how we doing out here in vertical streaming land? Okay. The vertical streaming land is sort of like the trash bin so far. And I'm not good people, but there's not a lot of monitoring or moderation. So there's some people that are just, they're being a bit silly, being a bit downright naughty. But that's what vertical streaming's all about, because they're out in the world doing things. Obviously, they're riding their skateboard, drinking their cranberry juice, and they're holding their phone upright. That's not the only thing that's upright. I'm telling you. 5th fret, way to go, everybody here in the horizontal world. No offense, vertical world, but if you had the answer, I would have given you the kudos. Moving on. 5, boom. That's what it would look like right there. And Bernie was saying in our Friday Zoom hang yesterday, Brim Vim, that this one is really nice and easy to slide around because it doesn't resemble, it almost looks like you took a, like a D major bar chord on the 5th fret. And if you held it on the wrong strings, you'd end up with a happy accident. So if you went one string too high, and always remember high is register. This is up the neck this way. That's down the neck. These are the high strings up here. These are the low strings. And if someone on the vertical stream wants to fight me on that, let's go. Let's go, Michelle Obama. Much respect. G, major 7. There it is. Let's try this now with our progression. We're going to need to be all the way. Actually, this is one where that open D major 7, you see how that shape lands right there? So we're going to have to be able to play the open version of it. Then we're going to go up to that G that we just found. Then we have to go all the way up here to be able to grab that same shape for the C. Let's try it. Try another one. Here we go. You can hit those harmonics. We got a whole nother section there. You just heard the first chord of the next section, which is fun. All right. I think that was actually our 6th chord. So let's just sort of like say that was 6 in case you're scrubbing through. Leave it on the screen for a bit. And then we're going to move on to chord number 7. Shebang. I'll erase that just so it's not confusing, because that was a major 7 that we just played. Ooh, this one's really nice. And this is one where it's like you'll probably see this shape again and recognize it in a different context. So if I were to play this chord, what chord is that? Does that sound like a major or a minor chord? A little pop quiz there. If I were to play it with that A in the bass, that would be like an A minor 7, and then with that, it becomes an A minor 9, which is a great shape to have in and of itself. But now, if we have, I wouldn't be holding this chord, but let's say the bass player or someone else in the band is playing that C. So C being the relative major of A minor, just know that this right here is a beautiful major 7 shape. You just need to be able to locate where your root is. So in this case, the root is right here. That's on the 3rd string. You could also see it as the 1st string, but you're playing that major 7, right? So this gets a little bit more tricky, and I think you're ready for it. Be able to recognize, let's say if I have my root note there on the 3rd string, I'm just going to bar all 4 of those strings, but it's important that I hold this one right here. So the reason I'll leave that other dot there, and I'll make that other one an optional note, so we'll make this one pink, right? Because really, in order to get that major 7 sound, you need to hold, there's the root. So check it out. If we were to be doing this, you got to be able to find now those roots either on the 3rd string. So that first chord that we're going to play is a D minor, or sorry, a D major 7. So it's going to be right there. that cool? But before I let it go around too much, I want you to just not get left behind on that detail. So right there, that's that D major 7, because note-wise, we've got a D, we've got the 3rd, which is the F sharp, we've got the 5th, which is an A, and then we've got the major 7. So we've got all the notes we need. So there would be the D on the 10th fret, and then you would just lower it. So one way or another, if you can find that, it's a really nice chord voice. D up to G. A. Or sorry, I'm thinking A minor, but that's D. This could also be down here. G major 7. Right? Pretty snazzy, pretty slick. That was chord number 7. Let's go chord number 8. Graffiti style. Shaboink. Okay. Ooh, yeah. Okay, we left a really good one for the final. Yeah, this is the 8th and final chord here from the major side of town, the sunny side of the road. 4 strings. We don't need the low 2 strings. And this is so nice, so gorgeous. It's the all diagonal one right there. Isn't that cool? You can see it right there with the dots that I'm playing live, right next to the chart. So that is our root. Okay, so pop quiz, where would I find the root on the 4th string of a... we already did G, so tell me where I'd find the C. Where would a C be on the 4th string? Tell me what fret would I find that so that I can play it, because we're going to need it in this 4-chord loop. Mr. Sandman, exactly. So that's the beauty of these. Is that they have this melodic quality to them, right? So that Mr. Sandman opening lick is a major 7, 1 chord going to a minor 2 chord. Like if we were in C, it'd be a boo da 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 boo to a D minor boo boo da 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 ba 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 beep. Yes, 10th fret. Way to go. Now let's play our progression. So we're going to need a D. We got to go 2 frets higher than that, 12th fret. G all the way down here. C. One more time. Sandman. Now keep listening. We're going to move into our minor chords. Segue alert. Boing. Pretty cool there. So that chord that we just went to in the B section of the song, if this is the A section, if we think about song sections, not the chord A or the scale A. So we've got the A section that does the D, G, C, does that a couple times. Then our B section of the song, coincidentally enough, goes to a B minor 7. Goes like a... to an E7 or an E9. And I think there's a G major 7. So some of this, what I'm showing you is just like how, if I was hearing a song and having to learn how it goes, I'd be just scribbling it down and just sort of checking the chords as I go. And then I might start deciding, well, what chord voicings would I want to swap in and just sort of test out here. I might do a regular B minor. I might be like, oh, maybe I'll try this one, that one. So let's get further into our voicings now. We're on chord number 9 here. And I'll just sort of we're not going to stay chained to that one guitar, that one loop. So we'll just sort of start a little bit from scratch here. So we're getting into the minor sevens now. So again, on this chart here, before we go diving any further, you can get this PDF. All you got to do, and sorry for my vertical people, I just did a PDF. It's like, bam, it's on the screen right now. But if you want to get it, just click the link in the description. And if you're on vertical, I don't know, you might have to go to my channel page. I made it pretty abundantly clear, I think, how to get it. It's in the description, where you get all these chords that we're touching on here quickly. You can get all 22 of them and just try them out. Yes, of course, you could Google, show me all the chords. And too often, I think we get in front of ourselves, we get like a huge grid that has all the chords possible. But it would be a little bit like deciding for yourself without doing a lot of cooking, deciding like, oh, I know what I need to do to become a good chef. I just need to have all the ingredients of all the good food in front of me. And then obviously, once I have that, I just put them together, right? I just grab some of these and some of these, right? You know, and all I'm doing today is giving you an example of some things that I like in my taste buds. And I want you to taste them and try them out as like a sampler platter. That's why it's called the chord sampler, 22 chords, to give you more options in the three main areas of chords: the major, which we just did, minor sevens, that's where we're headed now, minor sevens, minor nines, things like that. And then dominant chords, just to sort of help you start by hearing it and feeling it rather than jumping into the academic side of like, wait a second, why is a chord called a 13 chord or blah, blah, blah. It's more the fun of just being like, oh, you know, I like how that sounds, or I like how that sounds. I want you to be a little more experiential with how you learn this stuff and where you decide to put these things. So let me catch up with the chat a little bit. Any questions, any confusion thus far before we forge ahead? Let me check the verticals out. We got some people answering in the verticals over here from who knows when, saying minor. We got Richard. We got Ankush. We got Otto, my man, Otto. Oh, sorry, Otto. Missed the notification, but it's okay. We're just getting hunkered down. We're just getting it going, so hopefully you're still with us right here on the verticals. Too many Tims. My God. Don't ever create content if you don't like looking at your face. And I don't. Nobody actually does, I think. We just fake it and try to not be shiny, and we just try to sip our coffee anyway. Let the pity party be done with. Oh yeah, my buttons aren't working. Chord number 9. Chord number 9. Yeah, Bernie, Brim, Vim, these are going to be such great chords that I'm sure you know a bunch of these, but like when you get into playing classic standards, jazz standards, and like pop songs, like classic pop songs like Sandman. Sometimes people think like, oh, that's a jazz song. It's like, that was like a hit song in its day. Like that's like climbing up the charts. So this is a minor 7 right here, right? Let's do it on B, okay? So B is the root. Okay, now let's try sliding it up to E. Back down to B. Up to E. And I would encourage you as you practice these chords to practice like connecting them. So let's play back and forth between B and E, and let's see if we can slide it without picking up and then having any sort of rustling in between. You know what I mean? Like just try to have it be like 1, 2, 2. We're gonna slide up to E minor 7. Try to connect it, just even as a way of practicing that synchronization between your left and right hand. Check it out. That's that bass thing. Anyway, fun. Love that chord. We're going to hear it some more. So let's just sort of stock up our choices here. This next one. Oh, chord number 10. Ba ba da ba 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 ba. This is a minor 9 chord. Love this one. This falls into the sort of neo-soul category. You're going to hear this a lot. When you see all the young blood guitarists on Instagram doing their like, they do this like crazy, like sort of, I don't know what it's called. I call it the banana peel, but it's like the slippery sound where they do this like, I can't do it, obviously. It's not, I love seeing that there's like a whole style and a technique that like I didn't grow up doing and I just don't have the mechanics for, but they'll do the real, It doesn't sound at all like that, but it's this really cool, slick sort of vibrato thing. Anyway, let's take this on, let's start this on E. It's a really nice, familiar sound. I guess I started playing that because I recognized right away that sounds like a Masigo song. I think that's how you say his name. But anyway, the thing that I've found with this chord, as I've been teaching it this week, is that you're going to want to tilt your fingers and make sure that they're rotated diagonally to allow you to easily reach back. So you see the fingering, it's that index finger that's back here holding that minor third, right? Because if your fingers are turned this way, it'll feel like, oh my gosh, this is so hard. But actually, you just got to rotate the angle of your hand, and then you get all kinds of reach. And it gets easier further up the neck. So, you know, let's try a little invented chord progression here where we go E minor 9. Then we're going to go up to the 12th fret and play an A minor 9. The optional notes here, and this takes a little bit of practice and dexterity, is you could sort of do a hammer-on or a pull-off. You could add that note right there. That makes it a regular minor 7 because we replaced that 9 with a flat 3, in case you're wondering. You could do that. That one's a little bit trickier to sort of reach back and... But if you can get it, it's a nice little... So that's our 10th chord. Moving on to numero 11, once. Ooh, yeah, perfect. This lands on a minor 11 chord. So this one has a root on the 6th string. Boom. Boom, boom. The fingering on this one is probably just the trickiest part here because you've got to employ your second finger to be holding on the 6th string. And this is a minor 11. We'll try this on D here. Okay, and so this one, if you're getting any trouble with the muting, you can definitely use your fingers instead of the pick. So when you're on A, obviously you could just use the open A. That's a really nice... Always look for occasions on guitar where the open strings will have your back and add sort of nice openness either on the top part of the register, having like an open string that is a chord tone, or being able to get the bonus of having a chord that could have the open string be the root, so that so yes, of course, you should be able to fret it, but if you're in a situation where it happens to be an A minor, it has a different lovely sound. Have that A sort of sustaining through it. There you go. Good when you are older than dirt. Oh, you're a whippersnapper compared to people running for president. It's a wild world out there. Chord number 12. Ooh, now we're going to the 4th string. This one is also a minor 7. So let's get this right here. Okay, and this one, you know, I'm going to draw that. Well, I won't draw it as an open circle. That'd be confusing. So the only reason that I put that, let's go to A minor right now. So if we have an A minor, and let's take that full bar chord, you can see those 3 notes right there all together. That's a regular A minor. That's A, C, E, and A. So that's 1, flat 3, 5, and 1. And so what I'm doing now is I'm just adding the flat 7. So in that case, hopefully you can see that if we were to spell out our classic A minor pentatonic, like let's imagine we had that whole shape sort of lighting up underneath everything. This is where those chord tones and those scale tones really overlap. So it's like, stairway. A minor, and then that flat 7. So knowing where that flat 7 lives on the fretboard and within the shape of a chord, and also the sound and the sort of like attitude that it brings to a chord, it brings that nice sort of close harmony, because they're just 2 frets apart. Let's try this chord progression just to start weaving these voicings now into an actual context. Woo! Okay, so this progression goes around a couple times. It's G minor, D minor, and then it goes to an E flat major chord, right? So we've got those major 7s, right? We've got 2 minor 7s, and then we've got an E flat. Before we go any further, does that make sense, right? So we're starting to now bring in some of the colors we've already used. We're going to employ some minor 7s, which we're learning right here in this batch. We've got 4 options right there. And then we've got the options from before to play an E flat. So really all you need to be able to do, we're building this knowledge hopefully from the ground up, from the foundation up, versus coming at it from the roof down, as it were, trying to build the house from the roof down. So just quick aside to help you feel confident, if you don't, that like when you see these fancy named chords, or maybe you hear a progression like this, maybe this grabs your ear and you're like, wow, that sounds cool. Like, whoa, what happened there? I'm not sure like if I would know how to play along with that or whatever. First of all, the chords in this case to me matter so much more than like necessarily like soloing or something over that, because a lot of times we get stuck into thinking, well, what's the scale that I play over it? So long story short, I want you to see how we're starting with a major flavor and a minor flavor. And that's really what's going on underneath, like, let's say this chord progression. We could play this chord progression, this G minor, D minor, and E flat, just with regular Cowboy or with bar chords. So it could be like, right? That's not bad, but isn't it interesting how these other sort of bells and whistles, or like little tones that we're adding, and the voicings, the word voicings just refers to the particular placement of those chord tones, meaning like this shape right here, this shape right here. These are all different voicings of a major 7 or a major 6 because of where we're literally putting them in the register and all that. So the different voicings here for this G minor, and then the different like ways of bringing in the minor 7, they just give us these interesting new sort of like subtleties to the flavors, right? So you're building your way towards a more sophisticated vocabulary from the meat and potatoes, which is how it should be, rather than just feeling like, well, it's either rock and roll or jazz, and I don't really know where to go in between. So maybe you needed that, maybe you didn't. Let's try it now. Get a couple of voicings ready for your minors now, using this menu right here, and then remember one of your major 7s from just earlier, and use that on the E flat. Okay, so you know where your root notes are. Get ready. Here we go. And again, try a different one. Is that minor 9? Is that first one? We'll go around one more time. Okay, gang, continuing with our minors. Ba ba da ba 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 ba. Are we on the 12th chord? Let's see, that was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's go to 13. This one, chord number 13. Again, 13, it's landing on a good number here because it's a little bit risky, a little bit of a different sound, and I can't even say for sure that I know precisely when and where to use the minor 6, but it sounds so cool. So I wanted to include it because it's a little more of that particular use case thing. And the first place that I encountered it was in Billy Joel's, when I was learning Just the Way You Are, like. So, don't go changing, that second chord. Don't go changing. And it's just beautiful. So I want you to have that color to choose from. And in this case, it works really well on the 6th chord. So if I was in the key of D in that little mini example there, that's a D major, which is the 1 chord. And if you're wondering what I'm doing here with these chord, harmony analysis, you should check out our Keys to Cage free course. All you got to do is actually, if you sign up to get the free PDF, you will be eventually receiving the Keys to Cage, which helps us understand, like, why is a 1 chord a 1 chord and a 4 chord, yada, yada. But that's what we're using right here is the 6th chord is a B minor. In this case, we're going to make it a B minor 6, and we're going to make this D a D major 7. If you've never seen that crazy triangle, that's what that means. That's that major 7 symbol. It's not always going to be written that way because it's the Wild West when it comes to chord symbols. It's been different depending on who is scribbling it, and so that you might see it written out as MAJ7. You might see the triangle. The triangle is always going to mean major 7. And then the second chord is going to be a B minor 6. So that's how we spell that one right there. There's the root. We don't need that note. That's that 6 right there. So you can see how within that shape right there, a regular minor 7, if we were on B here, would be there. So in that chord chart, the regular minor 7 would be right there. And then we've just lowered that. So that's that flat 7. We load it to a 6. Pretty nice, right? So don't remember it exactly. Beautiful song. Billy Joel. Took me a while to get into Billy Joel. Has anyone name an artist who you were aware of, obviously a huge name, and you were kind of late to the party too, or it was like, you know what, I've heard about them, I think they're overrated, or I don't really get it. And then tell me when and where, or like what song or what album or what live show or what turned the corner for you where you're like, you know what, I've been missing out. I've been wrong about Billy Joel. For me, it was Billy Joel was one of them. And I think at some point when I was in college, back when they were still doing CDs, and there was this company called Columbia House. Columbia House, you would like pick out your CDs. Oh, what a racket. It was just good because people would all have to buy copies of the CD before CD burners were, and even after CD burners, it was like, I want to get my Blues Traveler because the CD is bright green and it's got the cat on it, yada, yada. But Billy Joel, I got The Stranger, classic album, has this song on it, a lot of other gorgeous songs on it. And prior to that, maybe what it was is that I have a friend in high school and he was like raving about Billy Joel, and it was a little bit of that. Sometimes when a friend of yours is too into a band, you almost kind of like, I don't know, it seems like you're in charge of being into that band. I'll probably never be as into them as you are. So I eventually listened to it and I was just like, wow, beautiful. So I was wrong, Billy Joel, and I've spent a lot of years now loving the Billy Joel. 10 for 1 penny. Wait, is that a band or a song, or is that a reference to something else? But anyway, if you drop it in the chat if you got an artist or someone where you're like, you know, I used to go pretty hard in the paint saying so-and-so was not my cup of tea. And then I think I'm still working on Elton John, I'll be honest. I mean, I love Benny and the Jets. I love so many of his songs. But there's some other ones too where I'm just sort of like, yeah, I don't know. Oh, we got a freaking aircraft carrier flying right above. That's what they do. Stevie Wonder. Wow. That's an amazing artist to come around to, because Yeah. Some people I know are just like, the Beatles, I can't really. I'm like, well, I guess we're just never going to be friends. No, but they're tough sometimes to like join the party after there's been so much lore and fandom around them. The Hives, oh yeah. That's that era of like bands like around the time when everybody was like the somethings like the Strokes, the Hives. There were a few other ones from the early 2000s that were like, I should check them out. A band that sort of reminds me of from around that time is called Hot Hot Heat. Hot Hot Heat is really good. You never listen to them? They're great. Dylan, wow. That's a great thing to discover. And Dylan can be tough, obviously, because of his voice. There's a lot. Grateful Dead jams, Love It Auto, yeah. Over there on the vertical stream. I've got so many screens here. It's like I'm running a security cam. But yeah, I still have some work to do on Grateful Dead. I mean, I love John Mayer and I love the tradition of the Grateful Dead, meaning I love that so many of my friends love them. I appreciate the jam band scene, and I've always enjoyed like Fish shows when I've been there. But I've yet to hit that tipping point with Grateful Dead where I'm like, I get it. I don't know. Maybe I don't do enough of the the herbal essence to have it support my journey, my sort of my spirit walk with them. But I'll keep trying. If you got any recommendations, let me know. All right, so those are our minor chords. Those are our choices that we got, at least the ones that I'm throwing your way in this sampler platter. Okay, so there's only one up there now, but we had 4 prior to that in our previous fleet. That brings us up to, that was chord number 13. How do we do this? Oh, I know. We count up to 14. Now we're getting into the dominant 7s. Okay. One thing I want you to know when we get into these dominant 7s, why do they have that name? Why are they always written without the dominant part? They're just written as G7. How do we know whether it's major or minor 7? Well, let's keep it simple. If you see just 7, it's a dominant 7. Quick little mini, sort of backstory on why it gets its name as far as the way that I know. Let's imagine we are in the key of C. I'm writing out the notes of C. There's no sharps or flats. So those are the single notes of C. That's the scale of C major. If we were to do the chords, it would be C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C major. So these scale degrees and chord degrees have their numbering. And then we're back to the 1, right? So the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, these are things that we become familiar with, even if you've only just heard about them. The 5 chord, the 5th scale degree within a major scale, the 5 is the dominant. That's what it's called. I have to look it up. It's one of those things that I don't use often as far as the classical naming, but each one of these, you've heard of like the modes, how they've got these antiquated like Ionian, Aeolian. It's like, what? The same is true for the scale degrees of a major scale. The 1 is technically called the tonic. The 2 is called like the supertonic or something like that, I think. The 3 is called the median. And all that you can kind of forget about, but you should be aware of the fact that the 5 chord, we're just going to spell it all the way down there. The 5 chord is the dominant. And long story short, as far as I can tell, the reason that it has that name is because just the way that vibrations and like notes work, the math of it, the 5 wants very much to go back to the 1. So after the 1, the 5 is like the most like powerful within a key. So obviously if we're in C, like that note C is like the be all end all. That's like home, right? But pretty much every other scale degree and chord sort of wants to do certain things. It wants to continue with its momentum somewhere. The 2 chord, there's a bunch of different ways it can go. So I'm not going to generalize and say it only wants to go up or down. But the 5 chord really wants to resolve to the 1. And in particular, the 5 chord when it's a 7, when it's a dominant 7 chord. So now it's a 7 chord and it's a dominant, hence the name dominant 7. So that is why you'll hear things like secondary dominant. What that is referring to is that, you know, the G7 wants very badly to go back to the C. The reason why is that when you spell out a G7, you get this note right there. That right there is an F. And it really wants to go down to the E, which is the third of C. Boom, blah, da, 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 da. So it's got this leading tone quality to it. In addition to that, the ba da 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 da, the third of the G. So I'm talking about chord tones now. Then we'll dive into it. But this might help you kind of going forward in general. I'm now circling the notes of a G7. It's a G, a B, a D, and an F. So G, B, D, and an F. Those are the notes that make up a G7 chord. The D really wants to go and resolve to an E note. The B really wants to go and resolve to a C note. The G stays right where it is, and then you'll get those 3 notes, a C, E, and a G. That's a C. So just know that that's why it gets its name dominant 7. I gotta call my brother back. He was just calling me. And since they are, I don't know exactly how and when the dominant got dropped off of their like chord symbols. It might just be because they happen so frequently, because they're very useful, because the power that a dominant 7 chord has to point you towards a 1 chord, that G7 really wants to go to a C. But if I were to play a D7 out of nowhere, it really wants to go to a G. So the 5, the dominant, the 5, really wants to go to whatever 1 it would be pointing to. Some of this might just be like, I don't know what he's talking about right now. That's fine. Some of this might be, I totally get it. Amen. Preach. You know, finally someone's teaching it this way so that we can actually use this in other ways. Hopefully it's somewhere in the middle where you're like, interesting. I want it to kind of overwhelm you a little bit, but also pique your interest. And now we're going to actually use it in a way that gives us a chance to try it, to take it around the block. So, bada boom, bada bang. That right there is a dominant 7 chord. Let's play it on the C. So we might know this because it looks so close to the underlying bar chord. If that was like a C major right there. Boom. Dominant 7. There you go. This might look familiar from down on the A. That A7. That's one of those early sort of open 7 chords we got. Okay, so let's do a little imagined chord progression. Going from C, we'll go from C, we'll go up to F and G. So we'll do so like a 1, 4, 5. So it'll be like. We'll walk back down to the F. So ignore that G7. We're just going to sort of take these chords around the block. We'll do a 1, 4, 5. We'll do a C, F, and a G. But this would be more like in a blues context where every one of those chords is a 7. So keep looping that. C. Catching some of these comments here. Yeah. Daniel, how you doing? John Borger, yeah. Should be watching the stream. Yeah. Brim Vim in the bar chord. The C seems to be on the 4th. I might have missed the chord that you were referring to. If it was the previous chord, that was that minor 6. The root would be on the bottom, and then the one prior to that. Yeah, we had that 4th string root. But if you can clarify that question, because I kind of mismatched with the timing of it. But right now where we are is 5th string root. We got that one, I think. And move it along. 15. That's a weird looking 5. Ooh, yeah, okay. I'll go to this one next. So this is going to be, this is a 9 chord. So this is a 9. And you wouldn't call it a dominant 9, it would just be a 9 chord. Versus major 9, major 7. When you see the word major, that really specifies that it's going to be a major 7 that's in there, and then you might add extensions on top of this. This one right here is going to be just like that. This is another one that we probably know. Let's see, I think, is it this one? So actually what I'll do is I'll turn off that loop. So we'll do, we'll do our chord progression. So forget that one that we just hear. We're gonna do C, up to F, up to G. So we're just taking that 9 chord shape back down to F. Let's take a little sort of palette cleanser and just play some C blues over this. Keep playing. All I'm going to do here is show you what you already know. So we're kind of noodling here in C minor pentatonic. I want you to see how these chords that we're playing overlap with it, right? So if I just sort of scribble in C minor pentatonic, and then I also sort of scribble in, oh, we've got our G9 chord here, we've got our F9 chord here. So wouldn't it be cool if you were kind of mixing and matching where you play a little lick, right? Then switch to the chords. And then go back to... then play the chord, and then go back to playing a lick. How are we feeling about that, gang? Flavors, choices, I'll keep it moving. Here we go, chord number 16. Chord number 16 gives us, oh, you know, we need to have this next chord dialed in. This is just like a classic meat and potatoes. Right there. So this one is kind of like, it looks like a handful, and it sort of kind of is. Let's play a C regular major bar chord right there, okay? Then we're gonna make it a C7 right there. You could stop right there, but if you wanted to add this, so it looks like this big widespread panic of chords, but think of this as like you're barring all of those, and then this is an optional, this pinky note, you can kind of reach up there and grab that. In fact, we'll draw that in pink for the pinky note. Bada boom, bada bang. So you don't need that note, but it is a flat 7 and it gives it a really nice. those kind of things are great, right? So let's try that. We'll go around the progression. I think this will still work. Let's see. Wait, I need to grab this. Drag that into ba ba ba. Too many buttons. Drag that right there. Now this is... Okay, so this one, try sliding around this shape now. It's really low down there. Try going up above the 12th fret if you're on an electric. Just gotta hope your intonation can hold up. Okay, that's chord number 16, dominant 7, and that one actually is a 7. So ignore that 9 that was up there. Strike it from the record. Name an underrated show that you could recommend, but you gotta really love it to really recommend it. I just finished Your Honor, Bryan Cranston, really good, really underrated. I don't know if it got the love that it deserved. It's a very good show. It's a very good show. Has that same gritty Breaking Bad sort of quality to it. Ooh, I'm looking at my chord choices here. Let's move on to this one. This one is a 9 chord. Chord number 16 is going to be a 9. There's the root. There you go. Boom. This one requires a little bit of, getting acquainted with that fingering, which is a little bit tricky. So if I take that off there, it's going to be second finger, third finger, first finger, pinky. Second finger, third finger, first finger, pinky. So that right there is probably the trickiest part there, is getting that shape comfortable. If you were able to reach over with your thumb, you could do that. But if you can do that, you probably already are doing it. So there you go. Three Dog Night. Okay, I only know them for the Jeremiah was a bullfrog. And then we'd maybe slide that up here above the 12th fret. And, let's try a little bit of that. F, G, G, back up to F. Now this one has a really nice feature to it where you can slide it that on those 9 chords, whether it's this one that's based. So this is a good thing for you to be able to have. If you can grab this chord, this one right here, and then we're also talking about that's a 9 chord, but it's based on the 5th string root. Both of those, let's say if we go down here to like a D9 right there, you can slide, that's that classic sound, that sort of bluesy sound. So I'll just sort of take those boxes off. But these, I'm just going to put these dots in here that you can do this kind of chromatic slide of those. You wouldn't want to press it and hold it, but that's that sound of. Same is true for this one. It's a slightly more awkward shape, but that triangle, that sort of reverse looking triangle of a D chord. So on the G and on the C, on the F, on the G, back down to the F, C, on the F, on the G, on the F. It's a lot, I know. How are we doing? We got a couple more chords to go. And if you want all these chords, you're like, oh, how am I supposed to remember all these? I'll show you how. You get this here chord sampler. It's the free PDF. You get that on the house to try it out, and then you can go back and watch this again and jam along with it. I will say, though, that after this has been up on the YouTubes for a little while, I'm going to make it unlisted, and it will be a bonus masterclass inside of the membership area. By the way, Guitar Friend Tim, if anyone out there is still out there, I know I've been doing these long streams. We're going to try to wrap this up. But my name's Tim. Our membership is the Guitar Friend Tim community and courses. We do daily workouts. So throughout the week, I'll go live for 15, 20 minutes, sometimes 25 minutes each weeknight. And a bunch of members join me in the moment. We'll put on some backing music right now. Woo! Yeah. Keep it nice and chill. But it's a blast because I have found from the teaching that I've been doing, momentum is everything. Momentum is numero uno. And playing a little bit of guitar every day ranks above all the other details. I don't care what you got to say about like, well, I want to learn every note, whatever. It's like you're only going to be able to get to that next level if you're playing and touching and feeling the actual guitar every day. Even a little bit. You can drop a day here and there, but that momentum of feeling like you're in it, you're in the race. So we go live 4 days a week. We do this live stream where you can jump into the comments and ask me questions and just sort of do your thing on the other side of the camera, other side of the screen. And then on Fridays we do a Zoom hang, so you can ask questions, talk to me, we can share and sort of like unpack some ideas from earlier in the week. And then these Saturday live streams are great. These are sort of open to the public, the open gym. But all of these workouts, these GWODs, they have created now an archive growing, and you could see from the screen I had on before, it said GWOD 102, guitar workout of the day. We're up to 102. You can search all of those previous workouts. So obviously you can watch this on your own time. And then you can just enter in whatever topic or title or search term, and it'll filter it down to the episodes that apply to what you want to go deeper on. And just go on a winning streak. The main thing that I find people are saying is like, oh, this is so great. I don't have to decide what to practice, and this is so much fun because I keep it on a theme. This week has been about the chords. We've done themes in recent weeks about like how to find chord tones and play lifesaver licks, all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested at all, it is 2 weeks free, no matter what. Your first 14 days are free to try everything out. I hope you join us, check it out. I hope you stick around. I think you'll be pleased with the community too. Everyone's encouraging and just wonderful. Like I said, we're doing these Dare to Share challenges. People are jumping in the water, playing their music for each other, and that's kind of igniting something more than just the typical guitar lesson membership. It's interactive, and you can lay back. Tons of people are just doing their thing behind the scenes. You don't have to feel like you have to be very social. If you just want to dive in and be methodical in your own way, that's great too. We support all types of learners, and most of all, we are having a lot of fun. I'm having a blast. Thank you to my members who are here checking things out. It just goes to show you that people are showing up after a whole week's worth of these workouts, and on a Saturday, I got to get you back to your life here. I got to get you out in the world playing this guitar so you can woo the people that know you and love you and did not expect you to know these fancy chords, but here you are. Couple more of these dominant sevens, and then we'll throw them into like this chord progression that we hear right underneath the yammering. So if you're interested at all, click the link in the description. guitarfriendtim.com is where you find our stuff. Boom! Look at that guy. We're getting the flowy hair going again. We have now over 102 daily workouts. Deep dive courses, I'm building more of those. Those are based around like songs, so they're not just static jam tracks that have beginning, middle, and end. And then you get the accountability of having actual guitar friends checking in on you. And we do. The app is great. Okay, gang. Chicka-bow. On to chord number 17. Let's see. Let's see if our math works out in our favor. All right, we just did. That was the 9 chord. Oh yeah. Okay, here's one. Okay, here's one that you got to know. 4th string root. Boink. You probably already do know it. You probably have encountered it. We'll go here to the correct screen so you can see what I see. And this one is a dominant 7. Dominant chords. Sometimes they'll just be referred to as dominant chords as well. So, if you play an open D chord, right? Now play this one. That's that D7. Okay. So you see how it matches that shape on the chart right next to it. Now we just slide that up, and we have to hold down that 4th string root. This is a great one. Let's say we're in A. This is Red House. But now we're holding that 4th string, right? Okay. Let's play it over this. Okay, can we find it on C? 4th string root. That's our 1, 4, 5 in C. Pretty fun, right? Essential. You got to have it. Quiz will be on Monday. Be ready. Just kidding. No quizzes. Life is the quiz. This one's good too. Okay, so this one kind of is a variation on the first one of these. So check that out. I have it separately because I think I want you to really know this as its own animal. So if we play this right here. It's a bit of a handful to hold that full chord, but really what I want you to kind of focus on is that is how you'd be able to find it, by having that root, by having this root right here. But this top piece right here, this, I think you've probably heard that, because now check it out. If I move that around. Nice sound too. You dig it? That's chord 18. Moving on, flying through at 19, Stevie Eisenman, Skating Into Your Hearts. Okay, let's go here. Ooh, we're getting into some snazzy ones here. These are kind of uptown jazzy. Let's go boink. And this one is really nice. This one kind of has it's a built-in suspension there. So I want you to treat this optional note that I'm scribbling in here as like almost part and parcel with this chord. So we go here to the C. The trickiest part of this one is probably the fingering. This is sort of like one of those ones where it's like, whoa, the pinky has to get involved. But so this one I'm using my 3rd finger as the root. But if you'll see, this looks like if we were playing a B flat major bar chord, that right there, see those 3 notes? Okay, that looks like a B flat, like a triad. That's actually a good way of thinking of it, because what this is, the sound that you're hearing is, it's like I'm trying to figure out how to describe it. It'd be like a 4 chord over the root of the 5. It's just, it ends up resulting in a very nice suspended chord that has a really good soothing sound that wants to resolve. But the first place that I heard this was in the B section of Yesterday, which is beautiful. So quick aside, it'd be like, yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. So right here, why she, so beautiful right there. So that's a good way to see it, because we're playing right there. I'm just gonna, I guess, do a quick little mini lesson on Paul McCartney's genius here. But right here, this chord is you can see that triad so clearly now as, oh, that looks like it's the triad of a G. You'd be right to think that. If you're playing this on a piano, oftentimes you'd be thinking like, okay, I'm going to play a G chord in the right hand, but in my left hand, I'm going to put an A. And what that would look like if you were holding down that A would just be that. It's a really nice chord. So he goes, why she, ah, na, na, na. And it's just beautiful. It's also in like Easy Like Sunday Morning, like it's a very sunny, sort of like breezy sounding version of a dominant 7 chord, which I'm insisting that you try it out at least. So this one will seem a little bit less bluesy, a little bit more kind of like smooth jazz. So we try it with this progression. It'll sound a little bit out there. That's just a taste of it. What do we got? 2 more chords left. I think I have my numbering off. I think that was chord number 20. That was 20. It was great. It's a flavor of dominant chord. I think technically speaking, it would be like what? A 9, actually an 11. So that'd be like a C11, and then it resolves to a C9. That's why, you know, sometimes the naming is clunkier than just, oh, you just lower that. That's a suspension. 4 goes to a 3, yada yada. Chord number 21. Boy, what a marathon this is. If you're just joining us, you're crazy. Dominant 7 chord. Oh, now this one's going to be a 9 chord. Love this one. You'll hear me say that a lot. This one has the root up on the first string. Okay, so let's find, actually let's use our progression. So we're doing our C, F, and G. So let's find a C on the first string. That's how that's gonna look. So in this case, the chord itself is written in white there. And then to suspend it, that's the suspension right there. So this is kind of like an upper structure version of the chord we just played, which is good. So if we were doing this right here, we do. Now we're voicing it up here. Let's try it. Up to F, G, we're getting close. Final chord here. This one is too spicy. This one's too hot for TV. Love it though. Because I mean, do I even need to spell it out? This one's just Jimmy. So the Jimi Hendrix chord is very useful. If you haven't ever played it, I'll just sort of write it right here in its sort of original context in E. Okay, so boom, we've got the E on the 5th string. This one is a bit of a hybrid because it has a major 3rd, flat 7, but then it's got this minor 3rd right there. So it's got a major 3rd and a minor 3rd, and then it's got a sharp 9. So it's a mouthful when you spell it out like academically, but if you're just straight up like Jimi Hendrix, let's do it. We can use this as a fantastic 5 chord. So let's say we were in A minor. It's a beautiful suspense chord that really wants to go back down. So try swapping that in occasions where you want to try doing a 5 chord. If anyone's still with me, I think I got to get better at making these live streams a little more succinct, but there's just so much I want to teach you. How is this hitting your ears? Any questions, comments, concerns? If you're still here, by all means, of course, if you've had to bounce, no hard feelings. I get it. It's a lot. But as long as I'm still here, which I am, I'm going to play through this chord progression, maybe another one, and kind of let it play out. And we'll try some choices. Thanks everybody. I know I was fishing for attention there. Appreciate you, Michael and Sonny and Jeff. Really, I want to compliment you, and that's not just to say like, hey, you're doing a great job, sign up for my courses. Many of you are members, and those who aren't, like, I enjoy doing this, and I get excited at the thought that you might have a level of passion with music that is like way up here, and then the frustration with guitar sometimes makes it tricky to express that passion of music. So if any of what I'm doing is lighting little sparks to be like, you know what, he really talked a lot about this, but that one moment there was something in there that made me want to go down the rabbit hole. That's all I'm hoping for. So I hope to not teach from a place of like, here's how you got to do it, otherwise you're not a real guitarist. I just want you to match up your love of music, which I know you have, and just look forward to playing guitar. It sounds that simple, but it's like when you got that feeling of like, wow, I can't wait to grab my guitar again and play that one chord voicing. Like if there's one chord from all of these where you're like, yeah, I'm actually going to use that from now on. Use it, enjoy it, thank me later, or just go forth and prosper, because those who gave it to me, I didn't come up with these things. Frickin' Mozart did. So let's check out this little chord progression, this nice vibey loop, because I think we haven't really listened to the back half of it yet, as we might say. You're more than welcome to stay and jam with me, but also enjoy your weekend if you want to get out there and see some sunshine. Which one? I forgot which progression this was. Couldn't remember. I gotta spell it out. Let's learn it. Chow chow. Chow 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 chow. Bam 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 bam. Yeah, this one's a really nice set of changes here. So let's. All right, where are we at? This is the one that's G minor. So G minor, D minor, and then E flat, and it stays on the E flat for twice as long. Repeats that. So that's like the first half. Now we get into the second half. Bum, bum, bum. C minor, B flat, and F. Repeats that. Yeah, and it just does that twice. Really nice and chill, but we've got some opportunities here. So taking our superpowers now, we can make this a minor 7. We can make this a minor 7. We can make this a major 7. Right? Why be basic, as they might say. They don't say that. I'm sorry I said that. Nobody says that. So now this C, minor 7 we're about to head to. That could be like a major 7 there. And guess what? This one sounds good as a dominant 7. So now we've got these choices, right? So I'll drop some options here on the chart. Just try jamming along with that. So let's say we tried this minor 9. There's a minor 9. Try that in there somewhere. For the major 7, let's see. Let's do this major 9 chord. That's this one. We've got 3 minor 7s, so I'll give us another minor 7 choice here. Let's try this, just the classic, right? Let's give you a classic one right here. But really see if you can add this note up there. And now for the dominant 7 for that F. Let's see, I'll give this one that's on the 5th string. Yeah, we'll just do a minor 9, here's a minor 7, then there's that E flat. Uh-oh. Here's this minor, is this major? Yeah, let's do that fancy one up there. So this will be this root up here. That'll be the 9 chord, the minor 7. I'll try this minor 9 here on the G. Then I'll try this one down here. Minor 7. Major 7. And I'll go up here for this really nice and bright sounding. It's a vibe. It's a chill vibe for your weekend edition. See, that minor 9 sounds a little bit funky on the D. That's one that I don't want to like. I don't want to spoil the party with that minor 9, but it works better on the 1 chord and the 4 chord when you're in the minor. Anyway. Yeah, the root note is a big thing. Finding it on the 5th string and the 6th string. I'm gonna let this play a little bit longer. I want to thank you so much for being here. If you're watching this in the future, you're a good soul. Keep up the good work. And again, check out the membership. The links are in the description. 2 weeks free. You can reach out to me. I'm the only person running the show. That's why you see all the quirks along the way. But I'm having a lot of fun. We'd love to have you join us. And thank you to my members who have been here, showing up, putting in the work. Oh, good. Yeah, I know. I was like, when I was putting it up on the screen, Sonny, I was saying like, you can screenshot it. I was like, well, good. The PDF is going to give you the full resolution and everything like that. So you're good to go. And just treat it like you can literally close your eyes and just hit a chord, play it. You get the idea. You get the feel of it, right? All right, one more time around, then we'll call it. Here we go. Yeah. Nice work, everybody. I'll see you on the flip side. Keep doing what you're doing. Stay strong out there. Stay silly. It's worth it. Trust me, it's worth it. It's a good time. It's a good time. If you're just being yourself, what could go wrong? I mean, really, what could happen? I mean, who could hurt? Well, okay, so some people could hurt. They could break your heart. They could say they're going to take you out on a date. They don't take you out on a date. Maybe you ask them out on a date. But you just got to keep playing what's in here. I'm pointing at my heart. See ya.